What is up, people, and welcome back to part 52 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the British Grand Prix, my home race, of course. And if you have missed Season 1, Season 2, and the first 9 rounds of this third season, then you can catch up with the little card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens to catch up with everything that has happened over this career mode so far. But we're here at the British Grand Prix, my home race, and a track which we have done well at over the last couple of seasons. I think we got a podium in Season 1 and we won it in Season 2. So can we do something similar here today? We're just going to have to wait and see. But first, let's see how we do in the practice sessions. Practice then for the British Grand Prix and just getting on with what the team wanted me to do, getting all the objectives that they have set for me here at this British Grand Prix practice session. On board with myself right now, doing the track acclimatization, and as you can see, it was a really good objective for us, getting purple across every single one, bar one green, which I believe was down in towards Brooklands. That was the only one that we got a green on, so pretty good there. 22nd though in the lap times, 1:36, which was 3 seconds off the pace of the rest of the field, but lap times don't really matter on the track acclimatization. They don't matter either for this tyre wear management. And have we got a purple score on this one? Yes, we have, just about getting the purple score for the track acclimatization, but that's good. That means more resource points for us to spend, hopefully, at the end of this race weekend. And it's 22nd once again, 1:34.7, just a little bit shy of 21st. And this is what happened in FP3, losing the back end through Farm Corner, I believe it is, or Village. And yeah, unfortunately, going into the wall there and ending our session. So FP3, no qualifying objective done. However, we did 2 laps at that stage, and it was only red, so there wasn't really much point. We didn't get the target time that the team wanted me to do, and unfortunately, it was down in 17th position of 1:32, and it's not looking good for the rest of the weekend. But hopefully, we can pick it up in terms of qualifying. Without any further ado, let's see how we do in that qualifying session for the British Grand Prix. It's qualifying time here in Silverstone for my home race. We'll be expecting to get a good result here by all the home fans. Of course, we are the current world champions, so we do need to get a good result in front of all these guys. Losing the back end as we come around the final corner. 1:32.1 is an improvement on our best time in FP3, but it's only good enough for P8 and only good enough to be ahead of Marcus Ericsson. And here we are on our final lap. Lap 2 was not a good one, neither is lap 3. 9 tenths slower, and that means that we are out of Q1, returning to our old days of at the end of Season 2, where we got knocked out of Q1 pretty much every single race at the end of that season. So unfortunately, once again, we are out of qualifying. A really disappointing result. Nico Hulkenberg gets through, so that at least it's okay for the Force India team, but I just wasn't feeling it. I just was not feeling it at this track. Downforce is something that this Force India lacks, and we were really missing it here today. We had good straight line speed, but downforce was just not on the car, and there we are down in 20th position on the grid, and it's a really disappointing result for myself and of course for the team. Max Verstappen also down there, but that's because he was on the mediums when he should have been on the soft tyres. So disappointing for him, but it means that at least there's somebody else who should be higher up the field down there with myself. But it just means that we're going to have to put in lots of work to try and get back up into a points scoring position. It's going to be a bit exciting for the race to try and make loads of overtakes and try and get back through the field if we have the pace in the car, which at the moment doesn't look like it, so we may have to go for a different strategy. But let's see exactly what we do as we head over to the race for the British Grand Prix. It's race day here at the British Grand Prix as 26 laps await us around this old World War II airfield. This is my home race, of course, so the home fans will be expecting me to do something special here around Silverstone. Unfortunately, a disappointing qualifying result means that we're right down at the back of the field in 20th position, which means we do have our work cut out for us here today to try and get back up through the field and try and get a points paying position to not lose out too much ground to Carlos Sainz in the championship. And looking at the championship after 9 rounds so far, Carlos Sainz leads the way, 148 points. I'm in second on 123, with the Constructors' Championship, Toro Rosso in the lead of that one, and Force India in second by about 82 points behind. So it's still quite close between the two of us compared to what it was. But Danny Kvyat, there he is in pole position, and I think it's a Toro Rosso 1-2, a front row lockout for the Toro Rosso teams, making it even difficult for myself to try and get back through the field and try and not lose up too much ground to them in the Constructors' Championship. But we are lining down in 20th position on the grid, so we have to make loads of overtakes in today's race to try and get points. I mean, we've got to make 10 just to get 1 point in today's race. But looking at the race strategy, the team want me to do a stint on the softs, then the mediums, then another set on the mediums. But I'm going to try something different, something that may be not actually achievable, but we're going to risk it. You know, high risk, high reward. That is what it could happen in today's race. So we are actually going to go for the hard tyres right at the start of the race. Try and take them as long as we possibly can, and then go on to the mediums for the end. Accidentally adding an extra stint there. Didn't mean to do that, but moving the pit stops all the way down and try and go for the mediums all the way to the end, and pitting at the moment on lap 14 for a set of medium tyres. But do you know what? I actually think that I could take those tyres a lot longer in this race and possibly be able to go on the softs at the end of the race. But we're just going to have to wait and see how it actually pans out. But that's my strategy for today. Starting on the hards, pitting for the mediums, and hopefully be able to do one stopper and beat the rest of the guys who will be doing at least a 3-stopper, maybe even a 2-stopper if they can push it. But the AI around this track are a lot better on tyres than I believe I am. So it might be quite hard to do this strategy. But here we are getting underway for today's formation lap, and being right down the back of the field. For the first time in a while, we have to wait for everybody else to move up the field. So disappointing qualifying session at my home Grand Prix, but it's going to be an exciting race. It's going to be an exciting race to get back through the field, and hopefully we can do something special here today. Max Verstappen just ahead of us in 19th place, but we're going to be getting on with our own procedure of warming up the tyres, warming up the brakes, and heading back to the starting grid. Here we are then on the starting grid for today's British Grand Prix. Round 10 of this Season 3. It's 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. It's an awful start compared to Max Verstappen. He is lightning quick off the line. Esteban Gutierrez getting an even worse start compared to myself. Going down in towards turn 1, braking very early. Yellow flags are already out, getting past Max Verstappen there. Can we get the overtake on him? We can't because there's yellow flags out. We go for it anyway, and it looks like there was a Ferrari going for a spin, and a safety car has been deployed on as early as lap 1 of this race, and for some reason Ericsson decides he can overtake us on the left hand side. We get back past him, and for some reason the game has decided to give us an illegal overtake. Even though we were ahead of him at the safety car and we were pretty much right behind Max Verstappen, Ericsson decides, no, I'm going to overtake you anyway, and we lose a position to Ericsson. Not too sure how that works out, but that's really disappointing to only be gaining 2 places. No, we haven't gained any places. We're down in 20th position, but here's a replay of what happened at the start. So let's watch on board with a Ferrari. He just gets a little clip there from the Toro Rosso, sent into a spin. Hopefully that was Carlos Sainz that tapped him, and hopefully he gets a penalty as well. But disappointing there from the Ferrari, as it's Danny Kvyat going down in towards turn 1. It's an awful start there for the Toro Rosso driver. He's been terrible at starts so far this season. He's been getting pole positions, but not being able to nail the starts. There was just a little clip there between himself and Kimi Räikkönen. He's on board with Kimi Räikkönen going down in towards turn 1. He has a great start compared to the Toro Rosso of Danny Kvyat. Down in towards turn 1, takes a lot of the curb there, but unfortunately just sort of moves it a little bit out too wide into the path of Danny Kvyat and gets sent into a spin. So Kimi Räikkönen right at the back of the field now, but no damage to his front wing. So it's just a case of trying to make his way back through the field. But here we are on the end of lap 4. Safety car is coming in. We need to catch up to the back of the pack. There's a huge gap between myself and Marcus Ericsson. 2 seconds, is that? No, yeah, 2 seconds between myself and Marcus Ericsson. Luckily though, we get caught up just before everybody gets going again, and the race is restarted as here we go underway once again with the green flag. But loads of drivers actually coming into the pits at the end of lap 4, so they're not making a good decision at all. And this safety car may have helped us out quite a lot if all the super soft runners are actually, or not the super soft, all the soft tyre runners are actually going to be coming into the pits. So there's a couple of drivers into the pits right now. We've been moved up into P17. We have Felipe Nasr right at our tail at this stage of the race. More drivers coming into the pits on the end of lap 5. So that should put us up a few more positions, maybe up to about P13 as we come down the start-finish straight now. And it is P12. It's P12 so far in this race. So pretty good in this British Grand Prix. Up into P12 at this stage, and more drivers coming into the pits. So hopefully those guys will stay out and battle with each other and give us a huge gap up at the front. But we're going to come out after this, after laps at the start of lap 7, up into P3. We're on a podium after 7 laps in this British Grand Prix. Yes, we are on a different strategy, but this could be an amazing race for us if we can stay like this. Felipe Nasr right behind us going down in towards Brooklands, and we're going to hold it around the outside through Brooklands, try and get the inside line in towards Luffer. We're not going to give up on this position. We do not want to let Felipe Nasr through, but we are still trying to look after our tyres at the same time. They're 12% worn after 7 laps, so tyre wear is looking okay at this stage. You know that if we go to lap 14, which is what I'm predicted to do, then we should certainly be able to make these tyres last that long. But it's pretty much okay so far for today's race, getting the job done there on Felipe Nasr. But here we are cutting ahead to the end of lap 12, and now we have a huge cluster of cars right behind us, including Carlos Sainz, who's gone for a move on the left-hand side, and Sebastian Vettel has come out of nowhere to get that position away from him. Carlos Sainz has been dropped down quite a bit in the field there, behind Sebastian Vettel, behind Nico Rosberg, and now behind Jolyon Palmer, which really helps us in this championship, as Jolyon Palmer goes side by side with Sebastian Vettel down in towards the last couple of corners. But we're on board with Nico Rosberg, who's sizing up an opportunity down in towards turn 1. Can he get the move done in towards turn 1? Yes, he can. We go into the back of the Mercedes driver, luckily not having any damage on our front wing, going down in towards turn 3 now, and having to hold position behind Nico Rosberg. Unfortunately, not being able to get through there. But currently, 34% on our tyres are 1 lap before when a team wants us to come in. So I think we can actually take these tyres a lot longer in this race, because I don't think the medium tyres will last a whole 12 laps in this race. So we need to make sure that we look after these hard tyres even more in this race. But cutting ahead to the end of lap 14, and it looks like Nico Rosberg is coming into the pits now. So that is good news for us in our race, because that means we will get back up into the lead, and that Nico Rosberg, we're going to have a pit stop ahead of him. Sebastian Vettel, I don't think has come into the pits. I'm not too sure at the moment. There's a couple of drivers in the pits right now, with a lot of drivers staying out. So there's a few split strategies going on at the moment, but I think everybody is pretty much going softs, mediums, then hard in this race. It's pretty much what we've seen over the last couple of races at the British Grand Prix. But here we are on lap 15. Jolyon Palmer following in the slipstream of Sebastian Vettel, going down in towards the old turn 1 of Copse Corner. Side by side at the moment. There's a little bit of contact between the two of them as they go down in towards Max and Beckett's. Valtteri Bottas having a look up to the inside in towards Maggots, and there's contact between Valtteri Bottas and Sebastian Vettel. He then gets in the path of Dani Kvyat, I believe that is, and that is disaster for Valtteri Bottas and Sebastian Vettel. Then Valtteri Bottas goes and gives Sebastian Vettel another tap there, gets in the path of Esteban Gutierrez and Marcus Ericsson, and there is a lot of debris down in towards Maggots and Beckett's. That's disaster there from the Williams drive, and hopefully we get a replay of what's happened there. But here we are watching on board with Daniel Ricciardo. So a lot of cars coming into the pits on this lap, on the end of lap 15, start of lap 16, and it means we're going to get a whole pit stop ahead of these guys. And if they got held up in that collision with Jolyon Palmer and Sebastian Vettel, there's going to be an even bigger gap. But here we are having a look at a replay of what's happened between these guys. So there's a little bit of contact now. They're still going side by side down in towards Maggots and Beckett's. That allows Valtteri Bottas to have a great run on them side by side in towards Maggots, and then Vettel just gets squeezed. Jolyon Palmer did more than enough to get out of the way. He was off the track, so far off the track that Sebastian Vettel still took that inside curve. So he's on board with Sebastian Vettel. Valtteri Bottas on the left, Palmer on the right, and he just gets squeezed, just gets sandwiched between the two of them. There's nowhere for Seb to go other than to back out. That was the only real option that he had, but unfortunately the AI don't really tend to back out too much. And then Valtteri Bottas just turns into the path, reverses into the path of Sebastian Vettel, kind of like what we saw Nico Rosberg do to Daniel Ricciardo in the Austrian Grand Prix. And yeah, the more damage to Sebastian. No, there's actually no damage to Sebastian Vettel's front wing. Somehow he got away with no damage. But here's on board with Valtteri Bottas. So he has a great run into Max and Beckett's, and then just gets side contact, not in his personal view. Not too sure what happens. Then he gets forced into the path of Dani Kvyat. Not really much he could have done there. But then this is where he kind of got in the way. He then reverses up into Sebastian Vettel, collides with Alonso, collides with Esteban Gutierrez, and with Marcus Ericsson. So Valtteri Bottas creating even more carnage out of something which was pretty much just a racing incident. But here's on board with Dani Kvyat. So what happened to him? He got taken out by Valtteri Bottas, and yeah, there was nowhere really for Dani Kvyat to go, or for Valtteri Bottas to go either. So unfortunately, a racing incident between those two. And once again, Dani Kvyat getting involved in the wars, kind of like what happened in Australia and in the Austrian Grand Prix as well. But we're back on board with Daniel Ricciardo, who goes through the old turn 1. He's had a rear right puncher literally just now. He's only just come into the pits on the previous lap, so I'm not too sure why that has happened to Daniel Ricciardo, but unfortunately for him, he has had a rear right puncher that's going to hold up Romain Grosjean and Dani Kvyat, whose race goes from bad to worse. He was leading the race, he was in pole position, and now, oh, there's contact between the two of them. Daniel Ricciardo has lost his front right tyre. He is out of the race. Romain Grosjean giving him a little tap there, and that's disaster from the Australian. Let's watch on board with Daniel Ricciardo then. And there's just the slightest amount of contact between him and Romain Grosjean, but it was enough to lose him his front tyre and to put him out of today's British Grand Prix. He's on board then with Romain Grosjean, stuck behind the slow moving Daniel Ricciardo. He just forces his way through and then just gives him a little clip there. and sending him into a spin and out of today's race. And watching on board with Danny Kvyat, who was following this pack. And did he get involved in this collision? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did get involved in the collision, losing his left end plate on his front wing, and his race has got even worse. He's just been overtaken by a McLaren, leading today's race on pole position, and unfortunately out of the race. As our race engineer there telling us that rain is expected within 15 minutes of the race. So there could be rain come to the end, and this kind of gives me an option what to do in today's race. Whether we stay out on these hard tyres until the rain comes down, but if the rain doesn't come down heavily enough, then we're going to lose out so much time to the rest of the guys. We can pit for softs now and hope they last until the rain comes down, but once again, if the rain doesn't come down heavily enough, then we're going to be pitting onto intermediates for no reason. So I think we're just going to stay out for the time being, pit for softs at our normal stage. But here on board with Kimi Räikkönen, he's stuck right behind the Sauber of Felipe Nasr. Jolyon Palmer then just flies past both of these guys, going down in towards Stowe. Side by side at the moment, Kimi Räikkönen gets the job done on Felipe Nasr. Still side by side. Nasr then turns into Kimi Räikkönen, trying to go into the pit lane, puts himself into a spin across Club and Vale, and that is disappointing for Felipe Nasr down in towards those corner, and that has brought out the safety car in today's race, and that could really help us out because that's going to give us a free pit stop in today's race to go onto the soft tyres, which we will be able to take a lot longer than they usually can because we'll be driving slower under that safety car. So we'll be coming into the pits on this lap, but you've got to say 18 laps on these hard tyres. Now that is one hell of a stint on the hard tyres. Not too sure what the tyre wear is at the moment, but I think it's only like 50% worn. So that is one hell of a stint on the hard tyres, and that is something that we have really done well to just maximise the tyre life of these and still be in the lead of the race by such a huge margin as well. But we've currently got Nico Rosberg behind us in second, who is 31 seconds behind us, which means that we have a huge gap over Nico Rosberg in today's race. So yeah, we should definitely come into the pits, go on those soft tyres, and we should come out still in the lead of the race if my maths is correct. It's about a 30-second pit stop normally, but under safety car the other guys will be going a lot slower. But let's have a look at a replay first of what happened with that instance. So Felipe Nasr trying to turn into the pits there to go for his pit stop, and unfortunately Kimi Räikkönen being in the way and the AI not realising that to back off and then go round him, just drives straight into him, puts himself into a spin, and that is how the safety car was brought out. Here's on board with Kimi Räikkönen going down in towards Stowe, side by side at the moment. Does he have any contact, any slides? Not at all at the moment. He has a little moment as he goes through the brake marker board, but nothing really too major, and he can just carry on with his race. But here we are coming into the pits now on the end of lap 18. So we are deciding to go onto the soft tyres till the end of the race. Remember that rain is coming down before the end of the race as well. So we could possibly be going onto the intermediate tyres at the end as well. So I think this is a good strategy to go on for now. Coming into the pit lane on the end of lap 18, start of lap 19. And we need a quick pit stop here from the Force India team to try and get us back out in front of Nico Rosberg and Carlos Sainz in today's race. But it looks like it's quite quick there from the Force India crew. And we'll be coming out of the pits quite a bit ahead of Nico Rosberg, I believe, as we come out of the pit lane now. I can't hear any other cars around me right now. Coming down the exit of the pit lane, I can hear a few cars in the background, but they don't seem like they're close enough going down towards turn 1. And I think we have actually come out with a huge margin over the rest of the field. And I think we're actually right, going down in towards turn 3 now. And yes, we have, looking on the mini-map, the other guys are going through turn 2 at this stage of the race. We're obviously going to have to slow down. We will get stuck behind the safety cars, so everyone will be bunched up. But we are on the better tyres, and we're going to be saving fuel. So fuel shouldn't be a worry at the end of today's race. So we should be able to get today's race win unless anything major happens. But the safety car still stopped there on the left-hand side. We have to completely come to a stop to allow the safety car to go ahead of us. So not too sure what happened to their Codemasters, but come on, maybe you need to sort that out. But you know, so far so good in today's British Grand Prix. That amazing stint on the hard tyres has allowed us to be in a place to try and win today's British Grand Prix. But we're just ahead of Nico Rosberg as the safety car is coming in. We're getting ready for the safety car restart, warming up the tyres, and just weaving and slowing down the rest of the pack. We're allowing the safety car to come into the pits and getting ready for when we put our foot down and try and get away from the rest of the field. Safety car coming in now, so it should be yellow flag any second now. When is it going to be coming into the pits? Now, okay, so it's yellow flag now, so we're going to be ready. And here we are, getting ready for the race to restart. And here we go. We just shot off away from Nico Rosberg, but To be fair to the Mercedes driver, he has kept up quite well, and now he's actually dropped off away from us. The proximity arrow is gone behind us and going down in towards this left and then right-hander. There's a little gap there to Nico Rosberg. Not quite a huge margin, but we do have a little gap to Nico Rosberg, with the gap being 7/10 of a second, which is happy for me at the moment to hold on to. So I'm happy with that gap on Nico Rosberg. It's a good safety car restart. But unfortunately, on lap 23, we have not shaken the Mercedes driver. He's within DRS range, trying to go round the outside in towards this left-hander, which he does do successfully. But unfortunately, just loses a lot of time, backs out of it. And that's allowed Carlos Sainz to then get past him and into second place. So Carlos Sainz is the guy that we do not want right behind us. We want him to be further down the field so we can gain more points than him in the championship and try and be involved in a championship battle with him even more. But here we are going down in towards turn 1. We've not had the best of exits on the final corner. Side by side in towards turn 1. There's a little bit of contact between the two of us. We're weaving the wheel all over the place. And that is probably going to be one of the greatest saves I've ever done, ever, on F1 2016. Weaving the wheel all over the place, just trying to keep it on the track. Unfortunately, we have lost position to Carlos Sainz, but somehow keeping the car on the track at 150 miles an hour. Somehow not going on into the barrier. Very, very lucky indeed, but we now need to push and get that position back from Carlos Sainz. We're going to have the slipstream though. We're going to have the DRS, so we're definitely going to have a chance to try and get past Carlos Sainz. And here we are going down the Wellington Straight right now, using DRS, using slipstream, but we're just not fast enough against Carlos Sainz down in towards Brooklands and Luffield right behind it. But we might have a look up the inside in towards Luffield, which we do, side by side with Carlos Sainz sticking it up the inside. He actually moves out of the way over to the left hand side. A little bit of contact there with Nico Rosberg, who actually holds up the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen, who's in third place despite having that crash on lap 1. He's doing a fantastic job to be up there. And now Nico Rosberg losing ground to both his teammate and Jolyon Palmer. So disappointing there for Nico Rosberg, who is doing a fantastic job in today's race. And we're currently in the lead with Carlos Sainz right behind us, looking to possibly go for an overtake down in towards Stowe. So we need to be aware of that. He is going to have slipstream. He is going to have DRS down in towards Stowe. And there he is on the left-hand side. We're going to squeeze him out as much as we possibly can. There's a little bit of wheel banging between the two of us. Late on the brakes, down in towards Stowe. We dive out the inside and we get the car turned in on these grippier tyres than Carlos Sainz has. So far, so good. But we need to hold on to this position as the race goes on. Still on lap 25, coming on to the final lap of this British Grand Prix. We started it down in 20th position, and on the final lap we are currently leading, going side by side with Carlos Sainz down in towards turn 1. We brake early, go for the switchback move, power down, and it's side by side through turn 2 into turn 3 with Carlos Sainz. Still side by side. We're going to squeeze him on the outside in towards the loop. And there we go, holding position against Carlos Sainz. But now we need to defend from Kimi Räikkönen, who was right at the back of the field at the start of the race after that collision with Carlos Sainz. He's got the slipstream, he's got the DRS, he's on the left-hand side, going down in towards Brooklands and Luffield. Can we do anything to defend against the Ferrari driver? The rain is coming down now, right behind Kimi Räikkönen, side by side through Luffield, kind of what we did to Carlos Sainz. Is he going to give us the room? Is he going to back out of it? No, he's not at this moment of time. And it's side by side with Kimi Räikkönen, but he's got the straighter line speed. He's got the better exit for some reason, despite being on worse tyres. And Carlos Sainz also getting the move side by side in towards Copse Corner. And it looks like we're just going to squeeze out Carlos Sainz through the old turn 1. But we need to push like hell to try and get that position away from Kimi Räikkönen. But as long as we stay ahead of Carlos Sainz, I'm not going to be too unhappy about losing the race win. Second place is still going to be a fantastic result for us. And we just need to make sure that we hold Carlos Sainz behind us. But he's going to have another go down in towards Stowe. Side by side. It's not even side by side. We're going to have to be very late on the brakes. Down in towards Stowe, which we do. Side by side. Not even side by side. We get the job done into that corner. And hopefully Kimi Räikkönen's got a penalty somewhere along this lap. But we're just going to have to settle for P2 at the time being. Kimi Räikkönen from the back of the grid gets today's race win. A fantastic result for him. But we're going to come across the line 20th on the grid to get second place in today's race. What What an exciting end to today's British Grand Prix then. A great stint from us on those hard tyres. Put us in the lead of the race. Unfortunately, not being able to hold on to the race win against Kimi Räikkönen. And I've actually got to admit, I actually realised why the other guys were so quick on that final 2 lap. I actually put it down to lean because we were only like plus 0.5 as we went through the end of lap 25. So I decided to fuel save through Club and Vale and then put it back up into Richmond for the start finish line, and then put it down to a lean again through Village and Farm. But unfortunately, I actually forgot to put it up into Richmond once again, and that is why all the other drivers were so much quicker. So it's really disappointing to lose out today's race because of a really bad error from myself. But Kimi Räikkönen, he wins today's race. I finished in second, Carlos Sainz in third, Jolyon Palmer fourth, Lewis Hamilton fifth, Nico Rosberg sixth, Max Verstappen 7th, Jenson Button 8th, Nico Hulkenberg, my teammate, gets 9th, and Sebastian Vettel finishes down in 10th position. So a great result for myself to still get 2nd place, and one I definitely will be very happy about. Looking further down the field, and Kevin Magnussen in the Renault down in 16th place. He has not had a good season after the first 2 rounds, so disappointing there for Kevin Magnussen. Anybody else? Disappointing result for them. Danny Kvyat down in 14th place despite getting pole position. And then we have Daniel Ricciardo, who did not finish. But let's have a look at how this affects us in the driver's standings. And in the driver's standings, we are still in second, but the gap is now 22 points. We have actually closed it up by 3 points, but there is still a long way left to go if we want to try and get our 2nd World Championship. Let's have a look and see how this affects us in the Constructors. Looking at the Constructors Championship, and Force India is still in 2nd place, but we've actually closed up the gap by 5 points. So 80 points is the gap at this stage of the season, and we'll be looking to close up that gap even further as the season goes on. But that is it for today's British Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. Looking at the rivalry update after today's British Grand Prix, and I think Carlos Sainz has actually pretty much won it. We did do a better job in today's race, but it's 27 out of 30 for Carlos Sainz. He's definitely beating us right now.
Hi, I have to dash off, but I wanted to give you the contract first. I'll let you read over the details, but congratulations.
Okay, it looks like we've got a new contract for Sahara Force India. Is this a promotion to Driver 1? Yes, it is. We've got a promotion. Senior management have noticed your recent performance and decided to promote you to the team's first driver. That's a fantastic result for us because it means we're going to get even more resource points. We're going to get an added bonus as the season goes on. So that means we should be expecting around 300 or more resource points per race, per qualifying session. So that's really decent, and that will really help us upgrade the car. Looking at resource points right now, we have 1,158, which means that we can get another upgrade. We can either upgrade chassis weight or downforce. We can't upgrade engine power just of yet, but heading into tracks like Hungary and Germany, where you do kind of need a bit of downforce, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to upgrade the downforce because I struggle quite a bit around this British Grand Prix with downforce, and if we did have the downforce upgrade on the car, then we would have done a good job. So I think upgrading the downforce is the best thing to do right now. It is the same in terms of vehicle performance comparison that we will gain on the other guys in terms of chassis weight and downforce. No, I actually decided to go chassis weight. Sorry. My bad. I actually decided to go for chassis weight on that one. I didn't decide to go for downforce. I just decided to go for chassis weight at the end of the day. Maybe I should have gone for downforce heading into the next couple of tracks, but we'll just see how that how that helps the performance of the car. But that is it for today's British Grand Prix. If you have actually enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you are new around here. But I'll see you next time at the Hungarian Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.